I'm Jared Hoffpower with Jared Hoffpower Photography. I've been in business for going on 13 years now. I started back when I was in college and have been a full-time photographer since about 2007.
Why did you start your photography?
I have always loved photography. You know, as a kid on vacations, I would always be the one taking photos of everybody. And when I decided to kind of changed my career paths as I have a degree in architecture. I found out I didn't really like working in an office environment, so I decided to kind of take that passion that I had for all those years and kind of turn it into something that I could do on my own, something that I could spend a lot of time with doing something that I was passionate about instead of just working for other people.
So tell me why you love photography.
Photography for me is a way that I can interact with people. I've always been kind of a people person, and I think that's what I like about photography is the interactions with people, being able to form relationships and being able to cultivate those relationships even beyond like the wedding day, for instance. There's a lot of people that we've done weddings for over the years that we still do work for, whether it be with their maternity sessions or newborns or family sessions later on in life. And I think just continuing those relationships past the wedding day is where my passion really lies, is because it's just so much fun to be a part of people's lives like that and be able to capture those memories for them.
When you delivered the product to the couple, your photos, what do you hope from them?
I hope they like what I gave them. No, I think it's funny because you spend so much time on the wedding day, so much time in post, editing through the photos, looking at all their beautiful faces again, and you relive all those memories. You know, the moments that they didn't realize happened. Hopefully, I captured for them, and so. You want them to love everything, but you want them to have all those emotions again and go through the whole gambit of feelings. And ultimately, the best compliment is, wow, you've done such an amazing job. We're going to tell everybody about you. And I think that's kind of the ultimate goal, is to keep those relationships past the wedding day. And if they still are in the area and they don't move to take a job or something like that, then we love working with them after their wedding day as well for any of their photography needs.
So tell me, when a couple's looking for a photographer, what's the top 3 things that they need to think about?
After being in the business for so long, there are hundreds of photographers out there that would love to shoot their wedding. And I think one of the things that they should look for, if photography is kind of their main thing, and I think everybody says that, and I don't know if everybody necessarily understands what that actually means. I think for me it means that the photographer that they pick has the work that they like. Obviously the photos have to be something that they just look at and they're like, oh my gosh, I want that. So I think the style of photography is the number one that I would look for as a client looking for my wedding photographer. I think number 2, I think somebody that has good communication, because I think if you email somebody and they don't get back to you, how is that going to translate on the wedding day? I think good communication is key. Both with quick response and then like proper ways of answering questions as well. So I mean, I think if you're, I don't necessarily like the checklist that a lot of the bridal magazines put out, because sometimes it doesn't apply to certain things. And I think having a checklist, if you don't know what those questions actually mean, like if you're just asking it to ask it, is not going to help you in any way. But I think an experienced photographer is going to know how to answer those questions and maybe even answer them before you ask them. So I think like I said, the style, and then second would be just experience and the way they communicate with you. And so I think the third thing for me would be experience. A lot of couples come to me and ask me if I've shot at their venue before, which is nice when I have. Sometimes you haven't because it's some new place that's opened up, or it's just some place that you haven't been before, and that's not a problem if you're an experienced photographer anyways. But I think sometimes when the venue is, maybe it's low lit or it's something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, I think having a photographer that has photographed at your venue definitely helps because they've been there and kind of gone through the process of knowing what equipment they need to have and to make everything look great.
What advice do you give couples that are planning a wedding?
The biggest advice I can give them is to relax and breathe and don't stress too much about it. I mean, you can plan, obviously, it takes planning, but I think sometimes people plan almost too much, especially when we go over like photography timeline. I'm going through the timeline and they're like, okay, yeah, we trust you. And then they're like, it only takes that amount of time. And I'm like, yeah, doing it for this long, it's we kind of have our way of doing things and kind of just, even though all weddings are different, they're kind of the same as far as how the timeline works out. And I like to work with the other vendors that they hire as well to kind of create and make sure that the timeline that I have set kind of works for everybody else as well. And so working together with other vendors is kind of a thing that I love to do just because we get to work with so many great people that are professionals in what they do. And I think it's great to have a team to work and make sure that we are doing our jobs to make the couple's lives so much easier, stress-free, and all they have to do is show up on the wedding day and look pretty. So it's all good.